I'd like to call to order the Middletown City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. If we can start with a moment of meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Ms. Skanku, please call the roll.
Here.
Here.
Mr. Moon?
Here.
Mr. Meterspaw?
Mute, you here?
Mr. Meterspaw?
I said here.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mayor Condrey?
Speak up
Here.
louder.
First off, we have this evening citizen comments. We have a total of 6 comment cards. So if you can come up to the dais and state your name and address for, oh, we're doing executive session. Oh, sorry, I have an old agenda printed. Yep, can you flow from there? Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, we have a request to move to executive session under the authority of ORC 121.22G3, conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject of pending or imminent court action. Do we have a motion to move to executive session?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Meterspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Abstain?
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
We will move to executive session in the police training room so that no one else in the council chambers has to be disturbed, and we'll come back here when we're
Okay.
finished.
And I will refrain from joining, so I will stay here in council chambers and hang out with the citizens, and we will open it back up when you guys return. Sorry, Amy. Welcome back. Do we have a motion to move back into open session?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Skanku, please call the roll.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Abstain?
What is this?
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
We don't need to leave it. Do we have to have this here? I don't want this here. Thank you.
Okay, next we have those citizen comments that I tried to get us going on earlier. So we have 6 this evening. You have 4 minutes to come and state what you would like up at the dais. So first we have Adrian Shearer. If you can state your name and address for the record, please, when you come up.
You won't see me in the next 3 months try to come down those on my scooter with my knee. But anyway, my name is Adrian Shearer. My office is at 1028 Central Avenue. My heart is here in Middletown, and I actually live in Monroe. I'm here tonight to talk about Splashdown Middletown Water Park. And I'm going to start at the very beginning because most people don't know our whole 3-year study or story. Prior to COVID, Merrill and I began to discuss this concept of some kind of a water feature that would provide exercise and fun and safety for our community. Almost immediately, we began to make appointments with the managers from all of the towns that surround us, Monroe, Trenton, Franklin, and the administrator in Madison. Although this was a great project, we were not certain how they would feel about it, and they all loved it. In fact, some of them said to us, we would be happy to help you with the expense of giant 20-foot umbrellas or loungers or whatever in exchange for some advertising, and our citizens will come. After that, we made appointments and met with stakeholders in this community. We met with city leadership that actually took us on a tour of a couple of possible locations so that Merrill and I could visualize what 4.5 or 6.5 acres looks like. And then the next meetings we had were with the leaderships of our public school, the senior center, the YMCA, people like that. Again, we got all positive responses. We visited and contacted other communities that have water parks or some type of water feature and talked with them about the history of something for their community to do with water. We applied for and received our 501c3 not-for-profit designation so that we can get deductible funding, tax deductible funding, and all we needed was a nod from the city to say, let's get moving. We thought we would learn from the $140,000 park study what would be the best location to find out where this could be. But that park study, when it started out, talked about how water features, water parks were equal to any kind of trails for walking or biking, but by the time it was written, water was pretty much a moot point. They didn't even hardly mention it. COVID became a delay in our activity, but we started having community presentations, invited various citizens, and we had with us many times the recreation director that got built and now manages the water park that is in Oxford, Ohio, which is extremely successful. Since then, we've located other communities in Middletown that make money, not Middletown, in Ohio that make money on their water parks. And I have found a potential corporate support that would help us should something break. If we had a water park and something was out of warranty and it broke and it was really expensive to help the city to pay for that. Those are all challenges that were handed to us by different people in the city council as time went on. I personally think that not seeing the value of this concept in the renovation of our community is extremely short-sighted. Gen Xers and millennials have to be attracted to Middletown for all of the different renovation projects that we are doing to become successful. They are the ones with children. They will for sure be the richest Americans ever to be around.
I have to cut you off, Adrian. That's 4 minutes. We're grateful for your time. And
Okay, but
we'll see you.
try to imagine our kids playing Marco Polo in our water feature. I'm going to give copies
Next up,
for
I have
each of
Jim's
you
stack.
to
Okay,
to Amy.
I have to cut you off. I don't have a choice there. Sorry. Thank you. Next, I have Jim Stiver, followed by Marcia Andrew.
Good evening. I'm here with the water group, as I call it. My name is Jim Stiver. I live at 2803 Fleming Road, Middletown, Ohio. And I'm going to begin. Like in 1922, Middletown is embarking on a journey of rebranding its selling point, better known as economic development. We must pay attention to the demographics in which previous councils have ignored. You're not on council for your temporary time, but you are part of a continuum or an ongoing growing entity. The age of the baby boomers, that's me, I'm 74 years old, is ending, and the rise of the millennials and Generation 2 is upon us with new needs and desires and a changing outlook for the city. We must meet and create needs to satisfy their demands, like recreation needs. Namely a water park in Middletown, Ohio, not in Franklin, Ohio, Warren County. Middletown is an entity with surrounding areas needing recreational water park access. Middletown needs to step up and build this water park to serve the surrounding areas which need this. Example, Franklin has an old and outdated pool, been there. Monroe had one, was there, no longer there. Madison, no pool. Trenton, no pool. The water park here in Middletown would serve us and the surrounding areas. This is marketing for Middletown, Ohio, which is in Butler County. Like before, it's called economic development. Example, my childhood grew up in Middletown, Ohio as one of tennis lessons, golf at Wildwood Golf Club, and swimming lessons at Sunset Pool. In 1960, all this changed when Wildwood put in its pool. Private pools, for me and my buddies. This was followed by Forest Hills, Browns Run, all following suit. Currently, at this juncture in time, Middletown families don't have access or resources to do this. This is sad when you consider that we have one generation that has not learned how to swim, and we are close to a second generation doing the same. My kids swam at Forest Hills and later became lifeguards at Forest Hills and at the YMCA here in Middletown. Also, know that we unleash 6,000 kids each spring on the area with nothing to do. Think, recreation, swimming in Middletown, a selling point. Economic development and demographic needs. We need a water park, period, end of story.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Next, we have Marcia Andrew, followed by Paul Gomia.
Good evening. Marcia Andrew, 3011 Court Louise, Middletown. I am also a member of the Splashdown Middletown Board. I'm here to tell you why Middletown needs a public water park that includes a competition-sized pool. I'm speaking to you from several perspectives. First, as a former member of the Board of Education of Middletown City Schools for 12 years, 6 of those as president, I know that we have roughly 6,000 students from very disadvantaged backgrounds who have very little to do during the summer that's positive and constructive and affordable for their families. I speak to you as the mother of 3 children, all grown now, but who all swam competitively. They swam at various times for the Wildwood Golf Club team, for the YMCA, for the Middletown High School, and for the Sunset Swampers, which was a team at the former Sunset Pool, now demolished. My children were able to benefit both physically, emotionally, developmentally from competitive swimming. Not all the children in Middletown have that opportunity right now. I also speak to you as a approximately 27-year member of the Middletown YMCA. I am a strong supporter of the YMCA, and it does wonderful things for our community, but many of our families cannot afford a manual membership in the YMCA. So we need a public water center with a competition-sized pool so that our children can all have the opportunity to learn how to swim. Swimming is the fourth most popular recreational activity in the United States after walking, running, and cycling. It's also a life skill. Drownings are the third highest cause of accidental injury deaths. Only 56% of Americans can swim safely, although 80% will tell you they know how to swim. And that percentage that can swim safely is much, much lower for people from low-income backgrounds and people of color. And that's a generational problem, because if your parents don't know how to swim, they're unlikely to take you to water and teach you how to swim. They are themselves afraid of swimming. And obviously, poverty is a generational problem preventing access to pools. So the Middletown City Schools, approximately 6,000 students, have a lack of activities in the summer of positive, constructive things. We're hopeful that with a water park, we can partner with various organizations in town to provide day camps that would have swim lessons as one component, but other enrichment activities as another component. I know from being on the Board of Education that while the school offers summer school, certainly students don't want to go to summer school, right? Blah, who wants to go to summer school? And parents often don't see the benefit of it. But if you could bring the kids to a day camp at an aquatic park that has a lot of fun activities and sneak in some learning activities, a summer learning, so that kids don't fall behind, they'll do better when school starts again in the fall, and they'll stay off the streets in the summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Paul Gomia, followed by Dora Bronston.
Thank you. My name is Paul Gomia, and I live at 301 Clark Street, apartment 303, 45042. I'd also like to talk about Splashdown Middletown and Destination Middletown. In my 78 years, I've seen us go through cycles, and every cycle we come out better. And today I see a dynamic, progressive Middletown in action. We've got changes going on downtown, in the east end of town. We're bringing new people in to live and to work. And new jobs are coming, a revitalized downtown, new restaurants, and we're creating homes and apartments in the downtown area. And now we have the opportunity to add a Destination Middletown, an additional recreational opportunity called Splashdown Middletown Water Park. Who will this attract? Everyone. But I'd like to address intergenerational families, seniors like me, and also people who are differently abled. The Generation X and the millennials who will be coming to town with new jobs are bringing their children, and with the economy the way it is, they're also bringing sometimes their parents or their grandparents to live with them. So we see more and more intergenerational families. We can cater to all these groups, but I want to speak to those specifically. What would the activities look like at the water park? It's easily accessible, safe, local, and an entertaining space for family fun with their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren, something we don't have now. The main pool area will have a zero-depth entry, so if you have difficulty, you don't have to go up and down steps. You just enter a little shallow water, and you enter the pool. It also will have a hydraulic lift for people who are either differently abled or who are elderly that can be used, the hydraulic lift, to also help them so they can benefit from getting in the pool. All these features are available to anyone who has any kind of mobility difficulties. In the main pool, they will have a timeout period where children will be resting, and then the seniors can enjoy pool activity without distraction. The tubing river can be adjusted for walking in, for exercises. In one splashdown, a group of seniors go there to play cards. They take a break and go swim, and then go back in and finish the card game. So it's all in one place together with their friends. Attached food stand would provide seniors access to food and refreshments. Destination Middletown is the new mantra. Opportunities for all current and future residents. Middletown must continue to add to its attractions. Middletown must add to recreational venues. Middletown needs Splashdown Middletown Water Park. We ask that you and the City of Middletown support and improve this water recreational facility called Splashdown Middletown Water Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dora Bronston, followed by Merrill Wood.
I'm Dora Bronston, 4817 Earl Avenue. To the Honorable Mayor Condrey, to all of our council members, our city manager, to the council clerk, Amy. Just want to talk about Splashdown Middletown without being redundant. And I'm going to go from a perspective as a person who ran for council. So when I ran for city council, my platform included housing, which included neighborhood revitalization, infrastructure, the paving for safe transportation, branding, Middletown, beautification and signage from the gate of the city all the way in and through our main loops of our city, and of course, quality of life. I served from 2014 to 2017. I participated on the OKI board, Tax Incentive Board, Middletown Moving Forward, and still a member of the Citizen Advisory Board. Our logo for Middletown, as we all know, is a bright past and a brighter future. And so here we are in 2022. We have many signs here that portray our bright past. We've branded Middletown as a Purple Heart City, thanks to my late husband and veterans who do live in the city, which we have a great number of them. As we can see, we're working on paving our streets in order to accommodate expected traffic from not only our residents, but visitors from other areas nearby, and to reflect the brighter future of Middletown. As we acknowledge our past, we've heard people say that all the pools are gone. We know that. Many membership clubs are the only available pools that we do have. A water park would certainly be a brighter future for everyone. So as I reviewed our Middletown action plan, we noted goals then to enhance qualities that make Middletown a community that's attractive to families and young people. That was one of the goals in that action plan. Then I looked at our Middletown master plan. We addressed the NRPA, the National Recreation and Park Association, and recommended that our park system, our community park system, provide 6.25 acres of parkland minimum for 1,000 persons. Middletown is situated well to provide adequate park space for those needs. We have public mini parks, public parks, neighborhood parks, private parks, and we have the Butler County Metro Parks. So our quality of life objectives and strategies in that master plan also addressed recreation venues. And if you look up sections QL 3.5 and QL 4.4, you'll see that for Middletown. And I'm sure we all agree that a water park would enhance our Middletown youth and adults, as well as visitors from neighboring cities, and draw new families to relocate to Middletown. So Splashdown Middletown will be a family-oriented aquatic facility that will offer a variety of today's popular water-based activities. A facility intended to proportionately serve the whole community as an exceptional recreation destination for all ages and citizen demographics in the city of Middletown and surrounding geographic areas. A water park is an answer to the city's quality of life in order to make the community more attractive as a destination for potential families and businesses to call Middletown their own home. And then finally, we need
Sorry, Dora, I hate to cut you
feasibility
off.
study that we'd like to use if you have one on file. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, I have Merrill Wood, followed by Steve Lewis.
I'm Merrill Wood, 3606 Grand Avenue. I was taking notes back there, and I was having great difficulty finding a way to say anything they haven't said. You've covered it all. I guess the only way to do this is to throw back some of the things that's been said by council. We were sitting there before council actually began, and some of you folks were downstairs in your executive meeting, and we were talking with the mayor. And she certainly has been busy with jumping out of airplanes, but what we're up to is kind of like jumping out of airplanes. Jumping out of airplane would be compared to what we've done in the last 2 years. Jumping out of what hasn't been done before. We're trying to do what needs to be done. We need to build something that people can go to, a family, children, for a water sport, a water activity. And that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to find support for it from the city. We do have a quote from the mayor, which I enjoy reading. It clearly says that the mayor's job is to get everyone on the same page, unite the community, and inspire citizens to accomplish great things in the community. That is what we tried to do. We're still trying. We are inspired. We've done it, we feel, the right way. Mr. Muterspa, he's seen a presentation of what we're trying to do, and he said something we found very interesting. As a policeman and a chief, he found that going out in the community, he was qualified to see the people that he was trying to protect. And so often, so many of the people that he was confronting and meeting in the community were people that had little to do in the summertime. And we feel that a pool and aquatic center would be something that would be a great complement to this community and allow children and families to have something that should be done in the city, and allow families to go to a place where they can enjoy water sport and activity which is related to water activity. Mr. Farrell, you said when you came on to council that he would like very much to see a water park built. We certainly agree with you in that respect. It's something the city needs, and we should work toward building that. Over the last decade, there has been no facility for people in this community to go swimming. We certainly feel that it's time to do that. The problem is to bring the money together to build it. We feel that that money could be found, but the city, of course, should be a partner with us in doing this. The demographics of Middletown are what we're about. Middletown is a blue-collar town. The demographics of what we want to serve is what Splashdown Middletown is about. We want to serve the people that indeed need this kind of facility. We need to invest in this project. We hope you indeed will find the time, the effort to work with us. We simply need you to cooperate and to help us find someone, some firm that we can find that will allow us to bring together those who know how to get to where we want to go, allow us to work with you, and to bring us together to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last citizen comment we have is from Steve Lewis.
I apologize. It's been a long day. Steve Lewis, 4614 Wicklow Drive. I've kind of been absent a little bit. The hill top issue kind of wore me out when it came to politics and coming down here, but I want to thank all of you for your time on that. Planning Commission, all of you, you put 8 months into that, and I certainly appreciate it. The Arbor Point issue, though, when it came to that, I kind of would like to ask Planning Commission how that kind of got defeated so quickly. With that said, I had stopped down here when you asked for a city council meeting on a Wednesday morning in regards to ARPA money and what you might do with some of the COVID money. I would encourage all of you to get that kind of moving. A lot of businesses in town obviously went through a heck of an ordeal with COVID, which in my opinion was completely mismanaged, but it is what it is. Now some of these businesses are dealing with a street issue when it comes to Central Avenue, and at the same time, Middletown as a whole. A little bit of money towards some of these businesses, I'm sure you're gonna work that out, but I'd like to see that kind of move forward. When you're dealing with established businesses or / organizations that work off of donations, MAC, SORG, I think it would be wonderful if we could just get some money to them immediately to help them finish it out. The SORG is a destination for everyone. Looking forward to a really good Pink Floyd cover band there Friday night. This is kind of odd that I kind of came down here and I was really more interested in hammering the city manager about the ARPA money and all you guys about that, but with Park Board showing up or a member from Park Board in the pool, we're all very interested in a summary of a pool. We hope that the master plan that all taxpayers in Middletown paid for will be looked at. At the same time, the master plan isn't, a perfect entity. It's a guide. We're all for hearing about something that would, involve a water center. But I had advised some of the members of Park Board, if you wanted to come down to City Council and put it out on the table, let's do that. And it sounds like I showed up right when they were doing it. I hope, though, that you will consider Park Board to be a part of that. We would like to give our opinions and kind of suggestions and back anything that makes sense with the city and having a water park. Not at all. It would be perfect. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have council comments. We'll start with Mr. Farrell.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one thing tonight. Was at the land bank meeting for the county yesterday. It's held 4 times a year, so every 3 months. And you guys will probably remember a property at 2218 Central Avenue that we had to tear down, kind of right across the street-ish from Combs Barbecue area. We spent over $70,000 that was transferred to us from the land bank to the city. They just got approved for an ODOT demolition grant, so Middletown will receive all that money back. And I know that's something that we really, I don't think we were really counting on getting back. So good news there. To Mr. Lewis's point, that is the taxpayers' money. So I'd love to see us use that money that I don't think we planned on to kind of help maybe some of those businesses downtown to see what we can kind of do there. But I'd love to really put that money that we weren't expecting to good use for the community. So that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nutty.
Thank you. Since we won't meet again until December, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels to all of those traveling to and from Middletown next week. For those traveling here, I would also like to invite you to enjoy all that Middletown has to offer, like our popular Light Up Middletown event at Smith Park and the 2nd annual Holiday Hoopla event with ice skating downtown. I think both of those open up in our break until our next meeting. So if you have a chance to go down there after Thanksgiving and spend time with your families, I encourage you to do so. I also want to encourage everyone not to forget to shop small on Saturday with the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and to support your favorite local businesses all throughout town and all throughout the season long while you do your holiday shopping. So I just, when we speak about things like downtown and the struggle that everyone's having, there's a really easy way to do our part, and that's to support all of those local businesses that live here too. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moon?
Yes, thank you. Want to wish a belated happy Veterans Day to all our veterans and thank them for their service. I'll echo Miss Ninny and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and holiday weekend. I did want to say congratulations to Middletown native and Senator-elect J.D. Vance. Incredible to have a United States Senator from the city of Middletown. And just in that vein, to the young people in the city, you don't have to look very far for inspiration for what you may want to be, whether it's in public service or in athletics or in anything. Education, being a writer. We have so many great success stories from Middletown. Be inspired by what all those folks have done, and know that your future can be great as well, no matter your background and challenges. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Mearspaugh?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to the group that just came up here and spoke. Quite the distinguished group of people. If anybody's been around Middletown, you know that these people have done a lot for the city. So to have them come up and speak passionately about what's important to them, that's really cool. All have contributed so much, and I fully support your endeavor. Marcia, if I can call you Marcia, your work on the school board was phenomenal, and thank you for that. It's a thankless job, isn't it? But thank you. Also, it was really cool. I drove down Central Avenue this week for the first time and got through without getting detoured, which was awesome. Yeah, I put my windows down, blasted some music. It was nice, but great job. I know people complained about it. I understand that, but Public Works and Scott, thank you so much for pushing and doing what you did. It's not through yet, but you can get through for the most part, which is nice. Make sure you visit Light Up Middletown and Holiday Hoopla, which is starting. I drove by on the way here, and the Hoopla has all their stuff out, decorated, lit up. It looks really cool. So it's something great that our city does and our community does, and I'm really proud to just see it just flourish like it has. So it's a really exciting time. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. I just have two quick things to add. We will be hosting the State of the City address here in council chambers the evening after our next council meeting. So it'll be Wednesday, December 7th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers. So come on out and celebrate everything we've done this year. And then also, just a follow-up to something I mentioned last meeting at I think it's 20 December, the 2nd December meeting. Yeah. Butler Metro Housing Authority, Ben Jones, is going to come out and give a presentation. I think citizens will find it quite interesting, so I just kind of want to put it on your radar. Also, of course, council's interested, but that'll be, topics about subsidized housing numbers and statistics and Section 8 and all that good stuff, and hopefully we'll dispel a lot of rumors and learn a lot and move forward with more educated background on that topic. And that's all I have this evening. That brings us to city manager reports. Mr. Lawley.
Good evening, Mayor Condrey and members of council. The first thing, I've got two things under the city manager reports. The first thing is the need to select one city council member to serve on the Middletown Energy Special Improvement District Board of Directors, and this was created, I think, a little bit before I came on as city manager, so Nathan has more knowledge of it. And are you all familiar with it, or?
I'm personally
somewhat
not.
Okay. Well, I'll let Nathan give you just a brief overview of it, and we'll move on from there.
Several years ago, the city created an ESID, an improvement district for energy projects to allow for the tax-exempt financing of what's commonly known as PACE projects for commercial entities that are looking as part of their remodeling or redevelopment projects to enhance their energy efficiency, whether that's replacement of their HVAC systems, new windows, insulation, and the like. Long story short, state law on this one requires the creation of a ESID board, which was done by the enabling legislation, I believe back in, don't quote me on this one, but I believe back in 2018. And as the makeup of that board has one representative of council on there. So I think what the city manager is asking is for you folks to think about this, and when you feel the time is right, to appoint one of the members of the board to sit on that ESID board.
How often do they meet?
Only on an as-needed basis, so there hasn't been a meeting probably in about at least 2 years. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. A lot of heavy
Happy to
lifting.
serve.
I can do that.
I would Someone must volunteer as tribute. Yes, this is what this is.
I would think maybe one of
And the
our
meeting was
members
for
with
4
more
minutes.
years ahead of them.
Do you want us to, I mean, anybody can obviously take that on, but do you want us to actually do that today?
Do we need to nominate the person who volunteered?
I think so, yeah.
We had someone volunteer ahead
I'll
of time?
nominate Zach.
I'll second it.
Councilman Farrell.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you, Councilman Farrell.
I think we probably have to actually vote on it, right? Or no? Like we normally do board and commissions?
I would think just, a motion to appoint is sufficient.
Is good, okay.
Right. So Zach will be the member to the Middletown ESID board.
Congratulations.
Good job, Zach.
Congratulations, Zach.
Thank you.
You can update your
Should I give a
LinkedIn
speech,
profile
or-
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
Tell us
Time
what
to go.
energy means to you.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on. Next on the agenda, I'd like to introduce Mr. Matt Dukovics of the Executive Director of the Butler County Regional Transit Authority, and he's going to provide us an update on the Butler County Regional Transit Authority. And Matt, I hope I got your last name correct. If I did not, I sincerely apologize.
That's okay. It was pretty good. You wouldn't be the first one to get that one wrong. That's okay. Thanks for making time this evening for me to be here to present. I got a couple of quick slides. The main purpose of the discussion tonight is to encourage people to participate in the public feedback portion of the study. You have slides? Maybe we do. There we go. Now, does this work? Hey, okay, cool. So I'm going to run pretty quickly through most of these slides, but I'm happy to answer questions, so please stop me if there's something you'd like to know. So BCRTA obviously operates the City of Middletown's transit system on your behalf. We just embarked on our first kind of comprehensive study that we've done in probably more than 20 years. We haven't really taken a cohesive look at the whole system throughout the entire county, including the Middletown system. So we've embarked on this study at the beginning of 2022. I'm just going to take you through a couple items, including an overview of the plan, what's going on, where we're at right now, some of the ideas we've had, and explain how people can engage. Maybe. Got like 3/4 of a slide. Nope. I'm going to give up on that. If you got,
Are you guys able to advance the slides? As cut off as they might be.
Yeah, that's all right. Keep going. The study we're working on right now is going to look at a couple of different things. We'll look at new and improved bus routes. We're going to look at funding and financing strategies for the system. We're going to talk about fleet technology enhancements, both back end and front end for passengers. We'll also look at stop enhancements, shelters, signage, benches, things like that. And then what kind of support we need for the entire system as far as back end support facilities, fueling infrastructure, those types of things. Next slide. So we started in January. We collected a lot of data from all of the systems that we operate. We also went out early in the spring and we asked for public feedback, just general ideas about what's working well, what's not working well. We took all of that data, handed it off to some consultants who are helping us out. They've been putting it together, and now they have brought out a list of recommendations. They're just ideas, they're recommendations, and right now we're back out for public comment. We're asking for people to give us feedback about the ideas that we've put together. So as we go into the end of the year, they'll revise all of the suggestions they have right now. They'll combine it with all of the feedback that's coming in, and they'll bring the BCRTA Board of Trustees a final plan probably early next year. Of course, anything they vote on, obviously we're going to work with council up here to make sure that it fits with your vision and what you're looking for as well. Next slide, please. Back to the beginning. So, right now we've got a variety of different routes we're running. We've got regional routes that connect the city of Middletown with Hamilton, Oxford. We run local routes within the city of Oxford, and of course, we're operating routes within the city of Middletown on weekdays and weekends. Next slide. In addition to those two services, you may or may not be familiar with our BGO. It's a curb-to-curb service, much like Uber or Lyft. We operate that countywide for $5 per trip. We also provide a service we call BCare, which is also called ADA Paratransit, a service mandated by the ADA. Next slide, please. So now we're in the process where we're taking all of our market data, we're combining it with the feedback, and also looking at some of our service analytics, and we'll probably skip through a couple slides here. Next slide, keep going. There's just some feedback in here, and I can provide perhaps something a little cleaner and easier to read on what came out of the April study. We'll keep moving. Next slide. Keep going. So one of the main pieces of feedback we got early in the spring was the bus doesn't come frequently enough, and the bus doesn't go where I want to go. That's the one that's cut off there that you can't see, which is not uncommon in a lot of transit systems. That's what most folks hear at the top of their list when they go out and talk to their constituents. Next slide, please. Keep going. Skip through some of that. Okay, so here we're getting to the exciting stuff. Here are some maps. I think this one is particularly interesting, and if you were here in 2019, you may be familiar with this. We presently contract with Cincinnati Metro to run express commuter service into Cincinnati from the Westchester area. We've been working with the city of Middletown since about 2019 to come up with a new plan that will expand service to city of Middletown and continue that service into the southern area of the county and then again into Hamilton County. The interesting thing here is that you may or may not be aware that commuter ridership across the country has kind of dropped off a cliff. Commuters are working from home. They haven't all gone back to the office, particularly downtown workers. So one of the things we're looking at this, because we've already been involved in bus acquisition and things for this plan that was all hatched in 2019. So we're looking very carefully at some of the demand patterns for Uptown. There's a lot of hospital services there. We've got University of Cincinnati. There's quite a draw. If you look at the data, the travel demand patterns are very similar to the Uptown area from Butler County as they are to the downtown area. So we're looking for feedback on this plan. I will say it's a very general alignment. We still have an opportunity to kind of flex, move things, put stops where we want. And I'll show you there's an easy way to provide feedback on that. I'll show you in a minute. So we'll go through, if you can skip, that's Oxford, some new stuff there. We'll keep going. Here's Hamilton, some ideas. We'll keep going. Here's Middletown. There's actually two scenarios. They're a little divergent because our consultant and our planning team are really looking to get feedback from opposite directions. What do people like about both plans? So this is a little bit different than what operates today. One of the things we're looking at is trying to eliminate loop routes. If you're familiar with the Red Line in Middletown right now, it operates on a loop, which is generally great going one way, but a really long trip going the other way. Most people don't like loops, so you can see this has been adjusted to really reflect inbound, outbound service and look at the latest demographic data that's available to us. So next slide. There's also an opportunity to comment on some of the regional service. Obviously, Middletown is connected every hour to the city of Hamilton, and there's also connections down into Hamilton County as well. Next slide. And then the really important part, the reason I'm here tonight, is we're looking for engagement. So our public feedback period's been open since October 24th. It'll be open through next week. We're convening some focus groups. There's one more tomorrow. We also have a survey that's available on the website, on the project website, bcrtatransitplan.com. And the other cool thing, if you go one more slide, there's an interactive map tool. And I show this to everybody because there's a little drop-down menu up in the top left-hand corner if you see it. And you can look at all of those maps that we just kind of scrolled through very quickly. You don't have to comment on everything. You can only comment on ones you're interested in. And you can drop a pin on the map where you want to stop or something that we've forgotten or missed or something we got wrong and leave that comment in there. We'd love to have that feedback, so I encourage people to go to the website, bcrtatransitplan.com, and provide some of that feedback. And then the next slide, I think is the last one. If anybody's got more questions or wants more information, we're still doing public presentations for about another week. You can contact our communications and outreach manager, Sean Cowan. Her email is in here, but we would love to hear from everybody. And that includes bus riders, elected decision makers, stakeholders. We're interested in everybody's opinion. So, that's everything I have. I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Any questions from council?
Okay. Great. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Lawley?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, that brings us to consent agenda. Ms. Skank, will you please present that for us?
For your consideration this evening, we have the approval of the City Council minutes of April 19th, 2022. To receive and file the following Board and Commission minutes: the Historic Commission, August 18th, 2022. The Board of Health from September 13th and October 11th, 2022. To confirm the promotional appointments of Margaret Van Villay to the position of Executive Count Clerk in the Department of Finance, Division of Treasury. David Skank to the position of Equipment Operator in the Department of Public Works and Utilities, Division of Stormwater Maintenance. Brandon Williams to the position of Equipment Operator in the Department of Public Works and Utilities, Division of Street Maintenance. To confirm the reinstatement of Jamie Patterson to the position of Patrol Officer in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police. To receive and file oaths of office for Jay Mikesell, Ryan Jovanovich, Caleb Clemens, Drew McLean, Zachary Dapper, Aiden Matalia, Quinlan Smith, and Daniel Abamley. And to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract for services with Anthem Life to administer life insurance plans for employees and qualified retirees.
I would like to move that the matters listed under the consent agenda be considered routine and enacted by one motion and one vote of consent.
Second?
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Meterspaugh?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
For the motion agenda, we have to approve the purchase of ferric sulfate from Camara Water Solutions Incorporated of Lawrence, Kansas, for the use at the water reclamation facility in the amount of $2.52 a gallon for an estimated usage of 135 gallons, approximately $340,200.
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey?
Oh, sorry, did anyone have any comments or questions? Okay, yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Meterspaugh?
Yes.
Item B is to approve the purchase of calcium quicklime for the water treatment plant from Harmuse Lime and Stone Incorporated of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $229.36 per ton for truck delivery.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Meterspaugh?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Item C is to ratify the city manager's cancellation of the purchase agreement between the city of Middletown and the ownership of the town mall property.
So moved for adoption.
Second. I did have one comment on this, and just want to say to the public, one of our primary roles is to be good stewards of these public dollars. The purchase price, coupled with the renovation costs, made the town mall location cost prohibitive to the point of endangering the sustainability of the development. While I'm disappointed this project couldn't work at the town mall location, I'm very confident in the overall project and bringing a destination ice and entertainment venue to Middletown in the near future. That's all I have on this.
Thank you. Mr. Lawley, were you planning to say anything today about it? I didn't know if you wanted to. Okay. I also feel confident about the development of similar size and scale that's going to happen in that area. We're working on it, so have faith. Just got to get through some steps. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Meterspaugh?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Item D, to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract for services with Anthem Dental to administer the dental care plan for employees.
So moved.
Second.
Comments, questions? Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Time for legislation.
All right, we have 6 items of legislation presented as emergencies. I'd like to do that in 2 motions. I'd like to invite a motion to waive any charter requirements with respect to 2 readings and passage as an emergency for legislation item number 1 first, and then we'll do the other 5 with a second motion.
I'd move that resolution number R 2022-40 be considered as an emergency and read one time only.
Second.
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Abstain?
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
The other 5 items that I have listed as emergency are legislation items number 2, 3, 4, 19, and 20.
So we actually have 3 of them are second reading emergencies and 2 are first reading emergencies. So I don't know if we can't really use the statement of being read one time only. So I don't know if we have to do them separately.
It's really, I think it's a motion to waive any applicable requirements.
Okay.
So if there is no
As
requirement.
long as we don't use the verbiage of 1 reading or 30 days or.
So I would invite a motion to waive any applicable requirements with respect to readings and passages in emergency for those 5 items.
Do you need me to read all of the ordinances
Please.
as well? Okay. I would like to make a motion that ordinance number O 2022-93, ordinance number O 2022-94, ordinance number O 2022-95, and then
19 and 20.
just 19 and 20, okay. Resolution number R 2022-45 and ordinance number O 2022-115 be considered an emergency and read one time only,
Where applicable.
where applicable.
Second?
You feel okay with that? Okay. Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
And who seconded? I'm sorry.
Mr. Farrell.
All right. Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Right, the first item tonight is resolution number R 2022-40, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a settlement agreement with John Hart II, John Hart III, and Start Skydiving LLC and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Nope. Council, I have no other further comments other than what we've discussed previously.
I just want to extend a thank you to Paul and to his leadership staff for the time and energy that you've all expended in bringing this settlement resolution to fruition. And just want to say that I look forward to a more harmonious future for the airport and to its growth and development as a destination. Furthermore, through this agreement, I do believe that the city's commitment to expand the available tenant space for aviation-related activities at the airport will be a good investment and for our citizens as well as all current and future users of the airport. So I thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. That was well said. I don't have anything prepared, but I'd just like to say, we received a lot of phone calls and emails about this, and it's been going on for years. And, one of the things that, in my past 30 years of working in this building, a lot of time in the local, state, and federal courtrooms, whether it was criminal or civil lawsuits, and it stinks. I hate even having to do this. But you have to weigh the evidence versus the risk. What is the risk to the taxpayers if we don't settle this thing? Is it worth going to trial for? And I think a lot of people don't understand, and rightfully so, I wouldn't either if I wasn't in the business, how important that is, that you have to weigh the risk of what you're doing. So, nobody wins in these things, but Monica said it better than I could say it. We have to move forward. We really do. If we do not move forward, we're going to have this on us for a while. And basically, it's one of these things where you have to make the decision what's best for taxpayers in the long run, and that's what we're doing. So I'm going to be a yes vote when we vote.
I think I was in college when all this started. So once again, to your guys' comments, it's good to see us moving forward. I think that's been the theme for for my first year of council, and all of us over, I feel like the last 6 months, we're moving forward, forgetting the past of what's happened, and just trying to make the best of every situation we're in and grow from there. And this is just another example of it. And thanks, Paul, Nathan, and everybody involved.
Any other comments or questions? Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Farrell,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw.
Yes.
Item number 2 this evening is ordinance number O
I'm
2020.
officially abstaining.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure it's
Mayor
on the
Condrey.
record.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. That's my mistake.
Item number 2 this evening is ordinance number O 2022-93, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Whiteside of St. Clairsville, Inc. for the purchase of 3 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD trucks for the Division of Fire and declaring an emergency.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I have no further comments on this.
Just thinking of this and question, I assume the price includes delivery?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Item number 3 this evening is ordinance number O 2022-94, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Danco Lettering to purchase a graphics package for decals for the 3 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD trucks for the Division of Fire and declaring an emergency.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Item number 4 this evening is ordinance number O 2022-95, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with ProTrim to purchase 2 ARE Deluxe Commercial Unit Topper Boxes for 2 of the 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD trucks for the Division of Fire and declaring an emergency.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Nothing further.
Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Muederspaw,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Mr. Farrell,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Item number 5 this evening is ordinance number O 2022-102, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing an amendment to the contract with Air Products for the purchase of carbon dioxide for use at the water treatment plant for the year 2023. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any additions to this one?
Nothing further to add, just to say that this is one of those situations where I think it's a great thing we get to do this type of business with a local company.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Mr. Farrell,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw.
Yes.
Item number 6 this evening is ordinance number O 2022-103, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Water Solutions Unlimited for the purchase of sodium hexametaphosphate for use at the water treatment plant. Second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
No further comments.
I want Paul to say it again.
I can't see my chemist as Brody isn't here, and Brody was my chemist.
That's fair.
Just in the fire department, we always called these terms ethyl methyl because that's the easiest to say.
Okay, Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Farrell,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey.
Yes.
Item number 7 this evening is ordinance number O 2022-104, an ordinance amending sections 1066.06, promulgation of rules and regulations, and 1066.07, rates and charges of the codified ordinances and establishing a new solid waste collection fee in 1066.07A. This is the second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Comments or questions or additions?
No further comments.
Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Muerspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes. Item number 8 this evening is ordinance number O-2022-105, an ordinance authorizing a contract with R.A. Miller Construction Company, Inc. for the 2022 Local Street Improvement Program. This is second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second?
Any additions or comments or questions?
No further comments.
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muerspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes. Item 9 this evening is ordinance number O-2022-106, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a professional services contract with Kaiser Medical Corporation for medical and nursing services for incarcerated prisoners in the city jail. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Comments or questions?
No further comments.
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Muerspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Item number 10 this evening is ordinance number O-2022-107, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing an extension of the contract with CBM Managed Services, now known as Summit Food Service, for jail food service in 2023. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
No further comments other than to say, I assure you that next year we will start much earlier in the process of securing as many bids as we can get.
Thank you. Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muerspaw?
Yes.
Item number 11 tonight is resolution number R-2022-44, a resolution to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Middletown, counties of Butler and Warren, State of Ohio, for the period ending December 31st, 2023. This is for the annual budget 2023 and is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second?
Comments?
Council, I would like to add here, this comes with a lot of hard work, but we're happy to say we found a way to balance, essentially get a balanced budget for 2023. I'd like to thank the work Finance did, Sam and Kevin and Nathan, and I think this is a good step in the right direction. I will say that there's a couple positions we want to discuss to maybe use ARPA funds for, and we'll be coming in for the first 6 months, and we'll come with a little bit of a presentation for that in December.
Okay. I know, first of all, I was grateful. You open the Journal News today and you see Amazon has some large layoffs in the area, and I'm grateful for the efforts so that we don't fall into that trap. And so I really do appreciate you guys looking into all that. And hopefully I'm hoping to get maybe a plan of what you'd like to see for additional appropriations mid-year, the supplementals, so that we're all on the same page. If there are things that were cut that we want to include, if we're doing well in, middle of the year, just so we all know in advance of what's coming and we can all be on the same page of what, was adjusted or shifted.
And that'll be coming in the next 1 to 2 weeks for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I would just echo, from the first time the budget was presented to where we are now, there's been a lot of changes, kind of bringing up revenues and cutting some expenses, and I appreciate staff kind of sticking with us and working through us to get to where we are today, which I think is a better position.
Thanks for listening, as always.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great. If there's no more comments or questions, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muerspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
All right, item number 12 this evening is ordinance number O-2022-108, an ordinance establishing the pay ranges, pay policy, and benefits for various salaried and hourly classifications within the service of the city that are hired prior to 2018. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second?
This is the PBO for those employees hired prior to 2018.
Any comments or questions? Okay. Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Item number 13 this evening is ordinance number O-2022-109, an ordinance establishing the pay ranges, pay policy, and benefits for various salaried and hourly classifications within the service of the city that are hired January 1, 2018 or later. This is the second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
This is the PBO for those hired after 2018, which is me. I'm a new guy.
That's funny. Okay, if no questions, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Item number 14 is ordinance number O-2022-110, an ordinance establishing pay ranges and certain benefits for employee classifications in the Middletown Department of Health and Environment. This is the second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any additions to this?
And this is the PBO that covers the health department.
Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Item number 15 is ordinance number O-2022-111, an ordinance amending ordinance O-2005-146, passed by the City of Middletown on December 20th, 2005, further defining the public infrastructure improvements made, to be made, or in the process of being made that directly benefit or that once made will benefit the parcels within the incentive districts. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any additions or changes?
These next three will be the TIFs that cover the East End TIF, the hospital TIF, and the Renaissance North-South TIF.
Comments, questions? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Item 16 is ordinance number O-2022-112, an ordinance amending ordinance O-2000-071, passed by the City of Middletown on June 6, 2000, to declare 100% of the improvements to the parcels to be a public purpose and exempt from real property taxation, further defining the public infrastructure improvements made, to be made, or in the process of being made that directly benefit or that once made will benefit the parcels. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Additions, comments, questions? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Item 17 tonight is ordinance number O-2022-113, an ordinance amending ordinance O-2005-147, passed by the City of Middletown on December 20, 2005, formally amending the parcels of real property subject to tax increment financing, further defining the public infrastructure improvements made or to be made that directly benefit the parcels for which improvements are declared to be a public purpose. This is a second reading.
So moved for adoption.
Second.
Any additions or comments? Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Item number 18 tonight is ordinance number O-2022-114, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Phoenix Safety Outfitters for the purchase of police uniforms. This is a first reading.
Mr. Lally.
Council, this is the bid recommendation for our police tactical uniforms. The police chief is recommending that we go with Phoenix Safety Outfitters. They were not the low bid, they were the middle bid. The problem with the first bid, the lowest bid, was that supplier has caused us several problems in terms of not getting the uniforms on time, wrong sizes, and therefore the recommendation is essentially you get what you pay for the lack of a better cliche. And they feel that they're going to get much better services with Phoenix Safety Outfitters of Springfield.
Any comments or questions? Okay, we're ready for the next one.
All right. Item 19 tonight is resolution number R 2022-45, a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept 2 American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 grants from the Butler County Board of Commissioners, to enter into grant agreements to obtain said grants, and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second.
Mr. Lawley?
Your approval of this, council, allows us to receive the money from Butler County Commissioners excuse me, for the Middletown paperboard site and the Sunny Hill Community Center renovations.
Any comments or questions?
Question. So we also received for the airport hangar, potential airport hangar, $7.5 million. Obviously, this is not included on that. Is there any kind of update on that you guys know of?
That was given to Butler Tech.
That was given to Butler Tech, not us.
I guess that's
right. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Yep.
Okay, no other comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Item number 20 tonight is ordinance number O 2022-115, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing additional funds for the 2022 contracts for grounds maintenance and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second.
Mr. Lawley?
Okay, council, 2 things here in terms of asking for a supplemental appropriation for our mowing contract. The first is to cover a budget shortfall. We kind of under budgeted for our cuts, the number of mows, and we had a rainy season, and we ended up cutting a lot more than 25 times. So that is the 2 reasons for the shortfall. The mowing is paid out of various funds. So 45,000, we were asking for 45,000 to be appropriated from the general fund, and 24,000 from the unencumbered storm water fund, to cover a total of $70,139.
Are we budgeted above what we were this year for next year on that one? I didn't look back at it.
Yes.
I also read, which I'm not 100% sure, but this is the highest the water table's been like historically ever in Ohio. So theoretically, hopefully, we shouldn't need to mow that much in the future.
We'll check the Farmer's Almanac.
Right. I knew I was going super nerd there on that, and I was going to get made fun of, but it's okay.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Muederspaw?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Nenny?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Item 21 tonight is resolution number R 2022-46, a resolution to make adjustments to appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Middletown, counties of Butler and Warren, State of Ohio, for the period ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency. This is year-end, various funds, and there's no action requested until December 6th, 2022.
Mr. Lawley?
Okay, so council, this is asking for de-appropriations and supplements to make all funds in audit compliant to year end. So we will de-appropriate $28,673.64 and do a same supplemental issue. This will have a net zero effect on our general fund, so there's no change to the projected year-end balance of the general fund.
Any comments or questions at this time?
Okay. Item number 22 is resolution number R 2022-47, a resolution authorizing a transfer of funds subject to repayment from the general fund to the solid waste disposal fund and declaring an emergency. There's no action requested until December 6, 2022.
Mr. Lawley?
Okay, this one's might be kind of confusing, and I'm going to cover 22 and 23 together. What we are asking here is to authorize an advance from the general fund to the solid waste disposal fund, of which is about $450,000. The supplemental appropriation to the solid waste disposal fund of $42,000 happened for two reasons. Due to the increase in trash cart use that we used from Rumpke and proactive code enforcement where we had to use a lot more dumpsters than we had originally accounted for at the beginning of 2022 caused, those are the two things that caused the shortfall. So what this does is this actually authorizes an appropriation to update the contract with Rumpke to essentially from $3.7 million to $4.1 million.
You know where to get me with that proactive code enforcement. You know I'm just going to say yes to that, so thank you.
That's something we watched all year, and we knew, and we waited, and we tried, but on the positive end, code enforcement, and we've made the arrangements for the 2023 budget, so hopefully we don't get into this position again.
Is the intention, since we're pulling this out of the general fund to the solid waste, is the intention to reimburse the general fund?
Yes, thank you very much. I forgot to state that. The intentions are, it's essentially a loan, and as the money comes in, the general fund will be reimbursed. Thank you very much. That was an important part of it.
Okay, yeah, we're ready for the next one, which is,
All right.
yep.
Item number 23, ordinance number O-2022-116, an ordinance authorizing the amendment of a contract with Rumpke of Ohio, Inc. for refuse collection and disposal and declaring an emergency. No action requested until December 6, 2022.
Mr. Raleigh, did you have anything you wanted to add to that one?
Nothing to add to that.
Okay. Great, with that, we're done with our legislation this evening. Do we have any items for new business that anyone wants to bring up?
I had one item. It'll be brief. A couple weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago, we had a presentation from the energy aggregator. You know, we just passed a solid waste increase tonight. You know, I know everybody sees what's happening with energy and what's probably coming next year. I'm just wondering is there interest in hearing more about that? I don't know what staff's plans are, but it seems like energy prices are ticking up and it might be worth moving forward on that.
I had some more conversations with them yesterday. They're requesting to see if council has any further thought. My plan here in the next couple of weeks was to send an email out to council to see where you're at. If you're interested in moving forward on this, it would entail them starting to do research on what they need to do to present this to council, to have it voted on, to take to the citizens. And they essentially run everything.
I mean, I'm interested in hearing more. It doesn't seem like there's a downside. Obviously, the public ends up deciding.
Correct.
And yeah, I'd like to hear more.
I'm definitely for that. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm for that as well.
So I will start getting information to you, and I will email it to you and have a report at the next council meeting on exactly the steps we need to take.
I had a, not really new business, but just a question. Do we have an official completion date for Central Avenue, and like when we get to have a party and cut some ribbons across the street or anything like that?
Scott?
Come on down, Scott.
Not to put you on the spot.
It's been great to see all of the papers get filled in, and
I think we're getting excited, right? We can see the vision.
And I can't wait for lights. That's my next thing I'm looking forward to.
You thought you were going to get away from a meeting without it coming down.
Sorry, yeah.
So it's a bit of a moving target.
Yeah.
Most work will be done, I'll say, by the end of this year. There's a few items that'll remain. Unfortunately, one is the streetlights. Those were delayed due to supply chain issues until the end of January. Once they get them, I think it'll take about a month to get those installed. So we're probably looking March, April 1st before those are completed. Then also, we will not do the final layer of asphalt until the spring of next year because we're too late in the season at this point and there's other work going on and other items I think will carry over. Maybe a little bit of landscaping. They are going to start planting trees here in maybe in a week or two. So I know it's not a definitive date, but it'll be substantially completed here in the next month with a few remaining items that'll be finished up by spring of next year.
Okay, so it'll be mostly done. It'll be feel good, but not ribbon cutting worthy until
Right. Till we obviously want the street lights in,
spring.
what have you, so.
Okay,
The spring.
sounds good. Well, we'll enjoy what we have until then.
Okay, thank you.
All very excited.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
it looks
planting
great.
trees, there's a guy there in the back row who might plant the trees for you.
Right there. Paul, is there any way that we can put that timeline out on our city social media so the public knows what Scott?
Oh, and they do. They do.
Yeah,
The upgrade, yeah, okay.
They are working on
Awesome.
updating it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
I think I get an email about every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got asked about it again today, and I just said, I don't know. I just drove through it and I got through, so that's all I can tell.
Same, honestly.
Great. Any other new business items or alibis? Okay, with that, we will adjourn until December 6th at 17:30 here in council chambers. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone and blue skies over Middletown.